All great tangents start with squeezing some thermal paste out on a very old graphics card. What am I doing here? I want to get an analog signal to my 80s TV, the free one I found on the sidewalk. But first, I'm going to try plugging it into my modern computer. And then I'm going to run a HDMI cable from my capture card straight to my graphics card just to see if I can get the thing working. Alright, it's all in there. Let's see if it shows up on Windows 11. There it is, the Radeon HD 5450. But there's no signal coming out of the HDMI of the graphics card. I thought at least there would be a signal. Well, let's go ahead and test it with an analog signal going from this encoder. Spoilers, that's not going to work. I need to rethink what I'm doing here. I did have an older working system with Windows XP, but I was trying to do this earlier and I deleted some drivers that I found that I thought I needed to get rid of. It turns out that bricked the system, so I'm going to go back to my old motherboard and see if I can't fix what I did. Here we are in the BIOS of my old motherboard because I can't load Windows XP. And I'm going to plug in the software CD in the form of a Rufus USB. We're going to load up some repair tools, hopefully. And blue screen of death. Just for fun, I think I'm going to try that one more time. And we're into recovery console. I haven't seen this screen for a long time. I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm constantly using LLM. So I'm going to use the check disk feature of Windows XP, and that was taking too long, so I decided to just reinstall Windows. It's looking for files to install Windows in the wrong drive, so I'm going to have to change it to the CD drive over here. And I've already forgotten where I found the previous product key, so I'm going to try maybe a dozen. Yo ho ho, one of the keys works. I'm going to type in my computer name, Mr. Blue Sky. And we're off to reinstalling Windows XP from scratch again. Trust me, this was going to be a lot faster than check disk, which was not guaranteed to work. All the drivers. Now I got full screen support coming from the old computer down below. And here's my signal transcoder. Plugging it in. And this time we're going to use a different graphics card. We're going to use the GTX 550 Ti, which is an NVIDIA card. And I was hoping that would work with the architecture of this board. No dice. So this is an analog graphics card, and I am trying to feed the TV the NTSC standard for 240p and for 480i, neither of which are working. So I'm going to use another program here called PowerStrip to give me more custom control over what timings to send from the graphics card. And it is not working. It is glitching out here on my main display and not even showing up at all on the TV. And this is hours and hours of fudging around, shortened down to this video. Here's a few of my attempts. I'm done for the night. I'm looking at ways of just manually editing the driver files, but I don't think this is the way to go. I got plenty of other options. So I'm going to plug in a new hard drive. And I've got a capture card here so you can see what I'm doing on my main computer. I'm loading up a new USB with Windows 7 because we're going to use a more compatible operating system with my GTX card. The idea being that my NVIDIA card will be able to run more intensive graphics from Windows 7. And from what I'm reading, the compatibility works with this motherboard on Windows 7 because they're around the same era. And here's an operating system logo I haven't seen in a while. I haven't used Windows 7 for a good long time. So the first thing I do is connect it to the internet and use a browser that's a branch of Firefox. And spoilers, nothing seems to be working on that. I'm going to look at these wallpapers instead. Here's an interesting one that I've remembered using as my main wallpaper for a long time. It kind of has this flat design, Masaki Yuasa Science Saru style, some Japanese line art, and juicy colors mixed with desaturated colors. Here I am adjusting the timings on the graphics card settings. I'm still not really having any success here in the new operating system. All these layers should be compatible with each other. When I made the discovery that I'm using the wrong encoder or transcoder, this device that plugs into a VGA port for analog signal is made for the Mr. FPGA project, and it isn't exactly designed as a transcoder. And though it works with my FPGA, it doesn't work with my computer, so I need to go shopping online to get something different. For now, I'm going to use my fallback option. This is a scaler, and what it does is it takes an image and it scales it. And so here you see it in my modern computer outputting to the TV. So why go through all the trouble of doing that if I could just use a scaler? Well, it does add some input lag, not very much, but it does add some, and the signal isn't a pure signal. Therefore, it's going to be a little blurry through the scaling process, and I don't have much control over that. Here's a taping I did of a 1:1 pixel ratio Game Boy to NTSC, and the signal was very clean through that. And here we are on the scaler. There are some quality of life features you can do with scalers and OBS, including being able to bend the corners of the screen and to better fit a bubble. This 80s tubes geometry is all over the place, but using OBS in the scaler, we get some really nice results. So I'm just going to have some fun while I'm waiting for my new transcoder to arrive from New Zealand. I have a confession. I'm a self-diagnosed obsessive person, and if I want something, I can dig in and try against all odds, and I've learned to see that as an asset rather than a disability or a disorder. Someone at the local thrift store has been putting these mechanical keyboards out on the shelf with low price tags. I don't have the kindness to tell them that they're selling these things for dirt cheap, but I picked up 2 of them. And here it is with the cheapest yellow keycaps I could find on Amazon. Okay, so back to the TV. Here we have YouTube frames per second checker. I'm running it in slow motion to see if I am getting 60 frames per second out of the TV. And most of the time it's getting around 90% frames correct. And here I am playing Interstate 76. I found out people are still playing this online about twice a week. And here I am playing EverQuest, the Project 1999 server. And this is a proof of concept. I'm using a plugin in OBS where you can zoom in to where the mouse is with a shortcut key. I used to play this game back around 2010 on a CRT TV monitor laying on a couch with a 360 controller in hand. So compressing my gamer experience down to these lo-fi effects is nothing new to me. I just find it entertaining to pair up old technologies with new technologies. Here's a game designed with CRTs in mind. It's the demo of the game called Bounce 2. And I follow this designer on Instagram, and they do a lot of fun stuff with old CRTs and special effects. So I thought I'd support their game and try out their feature that supports CRT shaping. So here it is. Here's Bounce 2 on CRT mode, and here's actual aperture grill coming from my screen, not the special effect. So what else can you do with a TV? Just anything you would normally do with your computer. It just gives it an old feel. And here it is running through the VHS player. Several years ago I got obsessed with running analog signals through a tape player, recording onto tape, and then back onto PC for special effects. Though there's some pretty good ones you can get through GitHub that do pretty good, accurate recreations. I like the authentic feel. Here's some more strange old forgotten media on YouTube. And this is one of the earliest versions of a Let's Play. This guy who plays arcade games and tells you how to beat them. That about wraps up this adventure with old tech plugged into new tech. I don't know, it makes me feel kind of happy to see this stuff playing together. It fills me with an unexplainable vibe. Really just doing my thing, and I'm happy to share it with you. I hope you enjoy content like this, and this is worth your time sitting through a video of just another tech dweeb stumbling through some issues on computer. I have some exciting news for y'all. Transcoder encoder from Wakaba Video in New Zealand is on its way and should be here in a couple of days. And if I plug this in and it works and sends a pure signal from my graphics card to my 80s TV, that'll be cool. I watched a video where someone used the pass-through feature in Windows 11 where they used a modern graphics card with an analog graphics card. And I'm hoping to maybe do some modern rendering outputted on pure analog signal to the TV. Hit subscribe, put some weird blue people and some purple people emojis down in the chat. Old technology, new technology, it's all technology. See you later, alligator.